Hi there. Hey fellas. You probably don't remember me. I was at ESA Winter a year ago with Modern Warfare 2. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 obviously. And today I am live with Modern Warfare 2 Remastered. So for the purpose of not mixing up one and the other, I'll be calling the original Modern Warfare 2 the Classic. And this one is obviously the Remastered. So some of you might have seen my ESA Winter Run. They'll be a bit more entertained because I'll be doing a lot of throwbacks to it. But I'll try to stay on the subject generally. So all the glitches, all this stuff, I'll try to tell that. Alright, so timer starts in 3, 2, 1, go. Right, so the first level is SSDD, which is basically a training range. It's relatively unchanged compared to the classic version, except we can't pick the gun outright. We have to wait for Foley to say his things. Spam F a little bit. Show off the cool animation. So generally, the remaster version is slower compared to the classic, because, well, those cutscene prompts and animations take up a bit of time. Plus, there are much longer loads in the remastered. Now you can turn off the shader preload, but if you do, the game will be lagging heavily during some moments. It's a big improvement compared to Modern Warfare 1 Remastered, where you either preload or you just stand in the beginning for a couple minutes while the game actually loads all the shaders. And the MW2 Remastered is generally a lot more optimized compared to MW1 Remastered.
So think twice before tossing one uphill. All right. Thanks for the help, Private Allen. Now get over to the pit.
All right. You threw the grenade. Now I can finally move. The movement method is unchanged, despite the engine being changed, which is awesome. Because in Modern Warfare 2019, the third Modern Warfare that I'll be mentioning, doesn't even have strafe jumping.
Okay, good. So you already got your sidearm. Do me a favor, try switching to your sidearm. You see how fast that was?
The line skipping is still there. You can grab the deagle and swap the weapons for a little bit. There's a strafe jump here that allows you to land on this thing and enter the shooting range a little bit quicker. But we are not going to do it because it is very hard, and because you'll be completing the range not with the preferred weapons, which is MP5 and the M9, but you'll be stuck with the Deagle and the M4, which are not preferable. 18 targets are still enough. One civilian, but the game still recommends us veteran. I still haven't completed the game on veteran though. I should run it on veteran one day. So that's SSDD. There's actually a lot of assets from the game here on the level, which you can explore if you enable the no clip cheat. The cheats here are activated by gathering laptops on the levels, so I'm not going to showcase any in this run.
Every fight is our fight, because what happens over here matters over there. We don't get to sit one out.
We're loading, then we load a little bit more.
The prospering of your people and utter destruction.
Just as I said, the loads are long.
We can't give you freedom.
I did preload some of the levels.
Require it.
Another
And that, my friends, is
difference from MW1 Remastered, you can actually preload levels so that they load a bit faster, which is the case with this level, for example. But unfortunately, I don't have enough memory to store the whole game in it, so some levels will be loading long. When I say long, I mean minutes long. Fortunately, the estimate is very forgiving. My PB is a bit higher than 140, and the estimate is 2 hours, which was made specifically to account for the longer loads. So the strafe jumping is the same. Like I said, you sprint, you jump, you rotate the mouse to gain the extra speed. Let's pre-aim with the noob tube, the M203 under barrel grenade launcher. We're going to be waiting for a car to appear there. So this is the same as in the classic version. Blow up these guys. We can move. There's this guy. He wasn't there in classic. Now, in the classic version, there was a boost that allowed you to jump on this roof and get to the Humvee 2 seconds quicker. It's not here, but this is. So you can bypass those bots and get there way before them. The Humvee activates when you pass the trigger, not them, so there's this. This wasn't possible in the classic version, because you had to wait for them to stand up and you couldn't walk around them. Look at the explosion. So I'm still playing on the lowest settings, just like back on Winter, back with Classic, because still more FPS is generally better. Not only because the game is smoother, but this is very important as well, mainly for me as the runner, because I'm used to high FPSs. But also, a higher FPS allows you to do some very hard strafe jumps more easily. We'll see an example of that way into the game on Gulag. Curiously, just like in Classic, some cars are indestructible. And those are the very same cars. The Mercedes are indestructible. Those green, whatever they are, Ford Pintos, I don't know, are destructible. I'm not sure why they kept it the same. Didn't make every car indestructible or every car destructible. But this is a nice touch and I like it. The names of the Hummers are the same. Speedy, Curb Stomper, there's Blue Steel somewhere ahead of us. No, there's Rusty. Blue Steel went through the tunnel. Anyway, they're the same. I'm not sure about the names of the friendlies. They might have changed. Because back in Classic, the names of the friendlies were basically the names of the developer team. So you could find Roycevich, you could find West, you could find like all of them. So it should be the same here, but obviously the developers of the remaster are different. It wasn't made by the Infinity Ward, it was made by Raven Software. And they did a pretty good job at it. is this. This is a good remaster. Right, so we fell out of our Humvee. Long animation. Oh god. Alright, let's press last checkpoint. It's quicker to just escape and reload the checkpoint than to wait for the quad to appear and for the game to load itself. And since it will load at the last checkpoint anyways, we need this. Well, it's just quicker. But generally, the remastered version is easier to speedrun compared to the classic. Mainly because some of the bad glitches have been fixed, like bots respawning right in front of you or just behind you, so they could melee you. It does seem that the enemy damage was fixed, so it's a bit lower now. You take more damage before you die. The melee range, but that's probably unchanged. But what's changed is the speed of you. Because the remastered feels like you're moving quicker compared to classic. Alright, so we're loading Cliffhanger.
Like one of the bad guys.
This is going to take long.
So Makarov is the prize.
Makarov's no prize. He's a whore. A mad dog.
Despite me playing on the English version of the game,
Remember your new identity.
there will be no Russian.
141.
Not even the loading sequence, not even the prompt, it's just cut out. The files are there, but
Mission recovering a downed ACS module.
the mission is not in the game.
Their feet wet?
Imagine they're just about freezing right now.
This is because my Battle.net account, Campaign Remastered, is distributed on Battle.net rather than Steam. My Battle.net account is registered in Russia, which means that I'm Russian, basically, and there's no Russian on the territory of Russia. It's a bit of a tongue twister for you. Alright, we're still loading. But I'd rather sit and wait for the loads than lag during the game. Again, those lags are way more forgiving and there are way less of them. Way fewer of them. Which is right. Anyway, compared to Modern Warfare 1 Remastered, where you really couldn't even play the game because of the lags if you didn't preload. But I'd rather play it smooth. Right, so the soap bypass was cut out, so you can't really move here. This is a scripted sequence, something we've lost compared to the classic version. Have to wait for soap now.
Stay here and spot me. Wait for my go.
There's no magic, no soap teleports this time.
This is good. Follow me.
There will be some magic teleports later in the game. I don't want to spoil the fun. Right, so let's climb up. The ice looks a lot better when you have your textures on high, but everything for the sake of FPS. Because we're in a competitive setting, somewhat. Not joyriding, we're running. Got a job to do.
Good luck, mate. I'll see you on the far side. Hold on! Don't let go!
The second part of the climb is somewhat shorter compared to the classic version. You just have to climb for a little bit. Bit of a time save there. If you time the ice pick correctly, you can almost skip the very first animation for the first ice pick climb. And we can finally start playing the game. Yeah, they're speaking Russian alright, but it's very heavy accented. It's evident they didn't invite any actual Russians to voice the game. Although grammatically it's correct. This part is easier as well, because those four guys spawn a bit later, so there's a much bigger chance of just running past them. Let's go to the hangar. Again, the location of pretty much everything is the same here. So they didn't really ruin any levels by changing anything in them.
Took a scenic a bit, eh? Let's go.
Take the snow glasses off. And the first skip that actually is retained compared to the classic version. If you kill the guy, the soap takedown animation will be skipped. So I have a bit of a hunch here that someone from the development team has seen my ESA run, but not from the beginning, but from this. Skipped the first 10 minutes for some reason. Because the first 10 minutes of the game are the worst to speedrun compared to the classic version. Everything else is either better or relatively the same. Except for maybe one more spot in the game, which is going to be a lot later, which is going to be of their own accord. Also, they fixed this soft lock way back when, once upon a time, Soap didn't teleport here, just got stuck somewhere behind the lines. They fixed that, so I can actually strafe jump to the very end. I don't have to stop to wait for him to confirm the teleport. Now the Snowmobile section, which is the very same. Even the trees are the same. So this part hasn't changed one bit, except for the graphics, of course. And I have to say that even at the lowest settings, the graphics look pretty awesome. Alright, we get hit by one enemy snowmobile. It happens. World record. Although it was ripped way back at Team Player when I got killed. The sad thing about this game is the fact that there are no Spec Ops Remastered here. So it's just a campaign. I can understand the lack of multiplayer. They do remaster the maps for MW 2019. and they want to keep the player base the same. They've learned their mistake with the Infinite Warfare / MW Remastered, when they basically split the fan base into two. But the lack of Spec Ops is sad. Maybe they just didn't want to mess with the networking. Spec Ops was co-op, still is. And this load is going to be pretty long. No Russian has been skipped. You see the cutscene that is way after the No Russian. And that means we won't even see the remastered Makarov, his new model, his new face. You can only see it in the menu. So Takedown and Hornets Nest are two of the longest levels to load. Not because they're big, but because there are a lot of sunspots there. They're in Brazil. Brazil is sunny, so there's a lot of shadows, a lot of sun to load. So even after the cutscene is over, we're still going to be loading for like 40 seconds, something like that. Right, so back in Classic you could dock instantly, right from the beginning. Here you have to watch the cutscene, but there's no significant difference compared to the speedrun.
Whoever these guys are, they're not happy to see him.
Ghost, we have a situation here.
He still doesn't reload his deagle, and it's still a deagle.
Getting away, Ghost, let's go, let's go! Ghost, a driver's dead. We're on foot. Meet us at the hotel.
Took me too long. Yeah, the hotel wall bang is still there. It's a little bit harder to execute, but it's still there, which is awesome.
This is gonna take some time. Go with Meet and Royce and check out the favela for any signs of romance.
So the Favela Run is the same too. There are even akimbo weapons in the favela. Again, just the same as in the classic version. Of course, we're not going to take them, because that means making a diversion from our path, which is not good for the speedrun. I'm not sure if the dogs are easier in the remaster, because so far I've never let a dog catch me, and this is one of the two levels where dogs are present. The other one is contingency. So really, I'm not sure if the QTE window is bigger or the same, because it was pretty big in the classic version, like in Modern Warfare 1, where you had to execute the dog in 0.25 seconds, otherwise you'd be dead. The slow-mo skip is still there. You saw me turn away from soap. Wait for Ghost. This dialogue is unskippable, unfortunately. Even if you walk to the other end of the level, it still won't be skipped. But there is quite a bit of skippable dialogue in the game. That wasn't the case in Modern Warfare 2 Classic. Alright, so now Wolverines.
San Bravo, we're reading 70 bogeys in your sector. Please verify.
The first major route change in the classic version since my run at ESA 19 Winter is also at Wolverines, and both the new strat and the old strat work in the remastered, so I'm going to showcase the new strat. It's somewhat faster, but is a bit harder to execute.
Scope is clear. I don't know what to tell you. Solar interference, heavy sunspot activity today.
Sierra Delta, we may have a minor ACS fault here. Do you have anything on your scope? Sierra Delta, repeat.
I'm looking at fighter jets over I-95. How the hell did they get through?
Stand by, attempting to contact the nearest unit in that sector.
I read you. This is 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment. Sergeant Foley, acting commander of Hunter 2-1. Do you copy? Over.
All stations be advised.
Yep.
Satellite
The war
surveillance
is on. Russia has invaded the US. The game takes place in 2015. Now it's 2020. Everyone's at home due to the virus. Everyone thought the World War III was going to start back in January. It didn't, fortunately. Anyhow, we're on. The field of view is 110 or 105, I'm not sure. Could look into settings to confirm it, but whatever. One of the best things, quality of life wise, compared to the classic version, is the ability to change your field of view directly in the options, in the settings of the game. You don't have to download an FOV changer or work the console anymore. That's cool. Also, the same applies to Modern Warfare 1 Remastered and to MW 2019. Of course, there's no console here in 2 Remastered, which is kinda bad, because it may hinder our skip finding capabilities. But since the route is the same, I doubt there will be major skips found in the nearest future. Minor, yes, like dialogue skipping, which I did find. But major route changes, I don't think will be there. Alright, so the new route for Wolverines includes us taking the machine gun and getting it all the way to the north side to the trucks. So that allows us to not stay on the roof and shoot anyone. And since I'm very far away, those guys, the ones that were at the gas station, will despawn. So now I just have to wait for Foley to finish the dialogue and get way over there. He says the line, and this is the new Wolverines route, the new Wolverines skip. Pick the BTR, the UAV, shoot 2 BTRs, you can still double kill them, and move all the way to Burger Town. You have to clear out the whole joint. Interestingly, the reload skipping is still there. So you can see me swinging the gun a bit when I'm changing the mags. That's exactly it, the reload skip. So if you look at the ammo counter, when I'm reloading, you can see that it fills up a bit quicker, before the animation finishes. You can skip the animation by deselecting and selecting the gun again. What's interesting is the fact that the reload times are exactly the same as in the classic version. So that's a very nice touch. I like it. Alright, let's see how lucky we get. That's decent enough. The first spawn is on the bank. The Predator missiles are a bit more unwieldy here. It's harder to aim them. For some reason the sensitivity on them is lower. Alright. Nice. Managed to steer it all the way to the bank for the third wave before the Predator was destroyed. The game won't let you finish the targeting if the UAV gets destroyed when the third wave spawns. And this strat is still here too. You can still tube the chopper. Only got one grenade. Can't miss it. There we go. Still got this, boys. Still got it. Even though I haven't run the classic in half a year, maybe more. In all honesty, I kinda stopped running after the ESA winter altogether. Don't know why, I just lost the taste for it, but I'm back, as you can see. There's the second chopper. Here the strat is the same. You aim below the chopper, so the rocket flies around it and destroys it. And in a speedrun setting, not in a marathon setting where I can show off, you would have to quickly swap the weapons so that you keep the Stinger in your hands, and you would have to run all the way to the ammo box to refill the Stinger. Get inside the Humvee, and the Wolverines is done. Right, so that was very good, Wolverines. Actually, I might be able to set a PB here on the marathon, because my previous PB is pretty bad. Could get sub 140. Loadless, of course. Because with those loads, I'll be lucky if I hit the estimate. Right, so next is Hornets Nest. The level I used to call the hardest in the entire run back in Classic. This is not the case here, because, well, what I said earlier. The faster move speed, the reduced damage from the enemies, so it's pretty easy to run from the beginning all the way to the market and to the end without dying. There are still no save points here, so you have to run from here to there, to the first helicopter side. First try, but it's much easier to do here. Now, just like in Classic, Rojas is still here. You can kill him, you can spare him. This is not the incentive for today, so we'll just let the guy live. Told us everything we wanted to know. We'll just run ahead. that wasn't too good. You can actually race the car. Whoa. Whoa. That was unlucky. You can actually race the car and get there ahead of it. Like way ahead of it, even before it starts turning. But I messed up one of the jumps, I guess. So let's take it safe here. Yeah, that car explodes behind us, as it should. Also, it seems that the density of the enemies is somewhat decreased in Remastered. So there are less barrels shooting at you, which is pretty cool too. And makes the whole run easier. The football field is still here, and the skip is still here. It's exactly the same. Concrete blocks, barrels, those things, pallets, and then the door. And then you run. Now we fall down. For some reason there are sort of slowing fields near the edges. So you're going to be sliding down longer compared to Modern Warfare 2 Classic, where you don't even slide, you just walk off the edge and that's it. Unfortunately, this out-of-bounds sequence has been removed. Those who've seen my MW2 run on ESA Winter in 19 could remember it. It's a useless skip, really. It doesn't save any time. It adds time, actually. But it was really cool to showcase. So it's kind of a shame that the skip is not here. Catch the chopper and fly away. This is the same. The scenery is the same too. Alright. So next it's Exodus. Used to be the most boring level in the whole Modern Warfare 2 back in Classic. Still the same here. You still have to wait a long time for Foley to catch up with you. A little bit less, I think, but doesn't really help. Foley still doesn't teleport.
Yes, sir. All yours, sir.
I've requisitioned a striker from the 8th Armored.
So unfortunately, we haven't been able to find a consistent skip for Exodus. Again, once upon a time, Foley didn't teleport, but he said his dialogue before walking into the vault, allowing the runner to pick up the briefcase way before Foley was actually at 1177 Brookmere Road. But we haven't been able to replicate it. We don't know how, why, what are the triggers. So, yeah. Who finds a consistent way to make that happen will pretty much take the world record. Just because it would save over a minute. That's a lot of time in the current situation. Right, so we're finally loaded. Take the M9, move forward. Also, one interesting thing about Remastered compared to Classic is the way you highlight the anti-aircraft guns for destruction. This minigun is dumber compared to Classic. Takes it a lot longer to aim at you, to start shooting you. But again, this level is the same. The houses are the same, the insides of the houses are again the same, the cars are the same, everything is. They just updated graphics, updated the models. This is how you destroy the AAA now. We've got a repurposed Glock with a laser sight. You can actually aim down sights on it. And you have to aim specifically at the guns. You can't just... somewhere there. Shoot it. Like in Classic. I was surprised to discover this, but it's not a bad thing. Just the game wants me to be a little bit more precise. Well, so be it. I'll be precise. Check out these guys. These fellas, the Harriers, are only shown twice in the game. Here and in the very beginning on SSDD, they're standing in the hangar. So you have to go out of bounds to see them, to look at them. And yeah, they retooled the models. They redid the whole plane just for this scene. It's awesome. They didn't slack, they didn't skip anything, they didn't reuse anything. There's Foley. There he comes. Like I said, a bit quicker compared to Classic, but still too long. I'd rather have him teleport. Remember Pulp Fiction? You know, that briefcase with a light in it? Vincent Vega was looking in. Well, there it is. There's that light. Right, so we're in the vault. Have to wait for Foley. There he comes. You can't destroy the fan, unfortunately.
Check the panic room. Move. No sign of forced entry. Ramirez, get that briefcase. What's left of it?
Sure thing. Again, an animation instead of just press F to grab it.
Not your average trooper, huh?
Poor. Get a couple of photos for G2 and check the bodies for intel.
Who up?
Overlord. The FBI.
And this is it for Exodus. Now it's going to be the only easy day. Was yesterday. Have a sip of tea. No, what I liked about ESA on-site the most?
Seems we're headed the wrong direction.
Red Bulls.
Shouldn't we be coming back to the fight?
Plenty of fight to go around, McTavish.
Those things are...
Headed out of South America.
wow.
You're meeting up with the 6th Fleet.
They're God's gift to humanity.
Prisoner 627. We believe that's who Makarov's got the mad on for, but we can't get to him.
So, if they stop having Red Bulls at ESA on site, I might not go to ESA on site just because they don't have Red Bulls. I'm kidding, of course, but Red Bulls are awesome.
Boys, I know I'm sending you into the meat grinder on this one.
They're defending it, so it means we want it. Especially if it gets us to 627.
One more thing about the cutscenes in Remastered, you have to skip them by holding Enter, compared to just press and skip. Press any key and skip in Classic. But it doesn't really affect the runtime because we count the skip as a load. It's like while the cutscene is playing, it's still a load. You can even do a cutscene % of the game if you want. I've got the brightness pumped up so you can see the corridor in which we're swimming. This is actual ice corridor. It's pretty fun to look at. It's not just sea, water, the actual ice. I think it takes them a little bit longer to swim all the way to the oil rig. I'm not sure, I didn't really measure that. And, well, no one really did. Or if they did, they didn't tell anyone. It just is. Is a fact, and that's it.
Whenever there's some time, I do have a few things to read.
Absolutely. We're going to have some after this mission. But right now, the action awaits. Alright, so the layout of the oil rig is exactly the same as in Classic. Got a breach. Seriously, I killed a hostage. Right, whatever. So the slow motion shake off is again the same. You just gotta juggle your weapon a few times. The breaching sequence is a bit harder now, because in order to breach you need to be absolutely ready for it. So like the gun loaded in your hand, not changing, not doing anything. If the game gives you a prompt of you are not ready to breach, you'll lose a couple seconds. Because you can't try it again until a few seconds after, until the prompt disappears. Right, we're actually going to keep the Scar with the thermal. Yeah, one of the cool things about the game is the fact that you can inspect your weapons. Plant the C4. Again, it's an animation. The same for this guy and this guy. Come on, get the UMP. Now we wait. This sequence is somewhat easier, so you don't even need the noob tube shot for this part. You can just clear it out on your own, run past everyone else. So even with the UMP, which is one of my least favorite weapons for the run, despite being an SMG, it's 25 round mag. It's clearly not enough. Breach. That one well enough. Again, the breaching skip here is the same. If there's no one in the range of 5 meters from the door, you can breach freely. This is the same here, and in... how was it? Just like all times. But the clear out is much harder in J-Lot. Soap teleports, and we are flying. Right, so you said you have some donations to read. Now's the perfect time.
And that we do, We have a $5 donation from KitKat with no comment, but thank you very much for your generosity. We also have a $20 donation from Belden, again, with no comment. But again, thank you also very much for your generosity. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the ESA Speedrunning Marathon, where we are currently raising funds for the Save the Children Corona Relief Fund. We got speedruns for you all the way into the late hours of Sunday, with every day closing up with a very, very special crowd control run that you can influence with your donations that will go towards the charity in their entirety. Coming up for this run, we also still have an incentive ongoing for killing or saving the helicopter pilot. Currently, however, the killing is over $50 ahead over saving him. So now would be a good time to get your donations in and cast the winning vote right there.
30 seconds. Hornet 2-1, this is Chester 1-1, flight of 2 F.
We got more time?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't want to take up all of your time. Coming up after this for incentives as well, we have a what seems to be a rather one-sided bid war between Pikachu and Eevee in Pokemon Eevee versus Pikachu, where Pikachu is in the lead with $215 ahead. Then later on, we also have Metal Gear Solid 3, where you can decide whether the game will be played in English or Japanese, where English is ahead by $110. And then obviously, I believe it is later in the marathon Super Metroid, we have the by now iconic Kill versus Save, where Save is actually in the lead by $400 over Kill. Wow. Are we even real speedrunners?
Alright, so now we are on the Gulag, which is the hardest level in the speedrun for Remastered. An accurate grenade there could kill those two guys before they unveiled the ZPU, but didn't happen, unfortunately. It's kind of a random grenade toss. And those two guys are the only ones you need to kill in order to move forward. But this is not the hard part. The hard part will be ahead. So first, we need to find ourselves an RPG. If there's no RPG, there will be no magic. Although there are usually at least 2 of them around this helipad. Not here. Yeah, there it is. There's only been 1 try in the entire community when no RPGs have been spawned. So you have to get really, really, really unlucky in order for the RPG. Oh god. For the RPG not to spawn. Guess I forgot to finish one of the guys. Right, so we got to go way ahead of Soap here. Unlike in classic version, where I still haven't been able to determine whether you need to clear the courtyard or you need to go ahead. Here you absolutely do need to clear the courtyard, because you need Soap here as fast as possible. Good shot from Pro Pipe, and now we are going back. we are going back for the first new skip in the Remastered. So we're going to stay here for a little while, let Soap get to the door, and we are going to skip his dialogue by being here. So the game thinks we're too far to hear his dialogue, so we're only going to be hearing Ghost. As you can see, Soap's dialogue is completely skipped. It's not even playing. Now there's a door opening, can't skip that. And when Ghost says Roger, we can start moving. Because if we are too far away from Soap, he will not move. The next trigger will not trigger. However funny that might sound. Right, that was a bad shot. It's not really necessary to kill those guys. And now, the hardest skip in the entire game. So first we need to jump up here. Need to take back the RPG. Nope. Missed it. So this jump is easy, but this is very hard. So even Clogger, who is actually you got it, the best strafe jumper in the entire community, has a 20% success rate. Me, I have less than 10, and the fact that I've been able to do it in 3 tries here is magnificent. This has never happened before. We're on a PB pace. This is awesome. Right, so we're not going to go all the way ahead, because we're going to need to stay here to clear the first wave of bots. The first wave is on a death trigger, the second is on timer, so after we clear those guys out, we'll be able to move ahead. Right, so we need to carefully slide down here. Alright, that's good. Now we go ahead. You can hear some clanking when I'm jumping down. It's going to be until the very end of the mission because of that skip. Let's clear everything here, and now we wait because we don't want to get soft lock. Then we get teleported when the door actually opens and Soap moves ahead. Everyone in front of us has already been killed, so it's a free run here. Absolutely safe. And this is why we don't want to softlock. So if we would run past this point before, we would be thrown off by the explosion as soon as we rappel down, and the game would place us below the level. You would be stuck and it would be impossible to move there. Now the famous shower sequence. Going to move ahead. My weapons are not the best for it, but I've got flashbangs. No damage for the fall. This is actually a bug fix compared to the classic version, where you take a little bit of damage when you fall down this hole. And it might actually kill you when you fall down this hole in classic. So this is fixed here. So you can take as much damage as you want. You can jump down on 1 HP and still survive, which is also pretty cool.
Drop it.
Say hi to Price.
Price?
This belongs to you, sir.
Who's Soap?
Yeah, what the hell kind of name is Soap? The clanking is still there. And now, a little bit of throwback for those who remember my ESA Winter 19 run. Welcome back to California. Yeah, for some reason, the developers kept this very zone where no arms are allowed. They just put the gun away in here. I don't know why, but okay, I guess. Right, so the rest of the level is pretty much the same. Unskippable slow motion, because you have no weapons. By the way, one thing I forgot to mention is the fact that you cannot flashbang shake off here on Gulag, because the ship explosion is not just a concussion effect, but an actual animation, an actual animated sequence. So there's that. There's no point in wasting a flashbang there. So next will be Of Their Own Accord. The worst level compared to Modern Warfare 2 Classic. So every other level is either much better or relatively the same. Of Their Own Accord is worse. First of all, because of a new softlock, which is very, very easy to get. Some people reported to have been getting it even on a casual playthrough. Because that softlock, as funny as that may sound, on a speedrun marathon requires you to go fast. But we'll get to it a little bit later, after we actually load the level. I don't know what's taking it so long. I preloaded this level in particular, because this one has one of the longest loads in the entire game. Probably even longer than Takedown, but not longer than Just Like Old Times, which is the longest and for some reason unpreloadable. The only level I never was able to preload. Maybe it's just too big for the RAM and the graphics card to handle. Don't know. Still, even with those loads, I should be able to make the estimate. The estimate was, I say again, made with those loads in mind. I tried running the game without preloading anything, and it took me just a bit under 2 hours. So with the Gulag skip made from the third try, I should be making this 1:55 easy. Alright, so we finally loaded. Let's go. The first part is the same. You just go ahead. They're a bit more friendly bots here compared to Modern Warfare 2 Classic, where you were basically the only one in this field. Kill these guys. You cannot jump through the glass anymore. You have to go through the door. Back in Classic you could just shoot out the glass and jump through it. Let's get ourselves a striker. And a P90. Pretty much every weapon on this level is very good for the run. It's either a shotgun or an SMG. There are a lot of P90s here, there are a lot of half-loaded strikers here. It's very good. There's no one. We don't really need to clear out anyone here, but here... one mag is enough. Let's get to sniping. The sniping sequence is much harder here compared to the classic version. Mainly because the hitboxes are all messed up. You just saw me miss a sitting target because I aimed wrong. But we are actually not losing any time because of my bad aim, because of the bad hitboxes, because even after we're done sniping, we still have to wait for Foley to come. So he doesn't teleport at all, he doesn't trigger anything until he's here. I'm just gonna go and set up some landmines. Javelin. We're going to need this. Kill those guys. A bit more claymores. And now we just wait. Right, there he is. He gets to a certain point at the stairs and then finally teleports. Then he says his lines. There's no voice line skip here. Nothing to do here. Now we get why this level is so bad. Nothing of this was in Modern Warfare 2 Classic. Yeah, I've already done that. Thank you very much.
All call signs on this net. This is the Washington Monument evac site. We're holding our own but have glass enemies to the west and are taking fire from that direction. Hunter 2-1, be advised you have enemy foot mobiles converging on your position.
And now we're finally back in action. Clear out some of them. Now Javelin. The Javelin sequence is the same here. You only have to kill 3 units of enemy armors. Or choppers. Either of them. Get to the door. And now we again wait for the timer to appear. Because if we reach these stairs before the timer appears, the level will soft lock. Now we can actually get to the roof. This chopper spawns. This one should land next. Means no soft lock. If we would have soft locked, this chopper would be just there. Just be stuck there, not moving.
Overlord, we've linked up with the SEALs on the rooftop and are heading up. Interrogative. Has the Washington Monument site been evacuated? Over.
And now the famous chopper scene.
Copy, Overlord.
Again, this is pretty much the same compared to Modern Warfare 2 Classic. Again, you can basically go all the way away from your PC and do nothing here for the next 2 minutes. Because nothing you do will matter. You just have to fly and look at the views, which are pretty good. Especially considered how the US president is the only one who is capable of seeing this view in real life, because White House is a no-fly zone. This chapter is the only one that's allowed there. Anyhow, if we have any donations or announcements we'd like to make, now's the time.
Sadly, we don't have any donation, but this would be a perfect time to get people on board to donate towards the Corona Relief Fund from Save the Children, which is the cause that we are speedrunning for the next few days. So, we also have some incentives going for your donations to go towards. For example, I believe we have some time left for this, for the helicopter chopper pilot.
Excuse me, zoned out for a bit.
Ah, we have, how long left for the chopper pilot?
Well, till the very end of the game. Because the chopper pilot that has the custom kill animation is this next to last enemy that we kill in the game.
There you go, there you heard it. You have until the end of the game to decide the fate of the chopper pilot in this game, so... We're currently $15 ahead for kill versus spare.
Alright, so this sequence is again the same compared to Modern Warfare 2 Classic. To the very point of your feet being stuck below the actual chopper floor. Because, well, who needs to care about things like that? Like your feet getting stuck below there. Anyhow, the next level is Contingency. And Contingency in Remastered is kinda better compared to Classic. Mainly because the price soft lock has been eliminated. It's not there anymore. You can go as fast as you want, you don't need to wait for price, you don't need to risk anything. But at the same time, Contingency has become a bit more random. Because Price now moves... He can move really fast, he can get into the submarine really fast, or he can be the last friendly to enter the sub base and lose you time. So there's like a 2-minute window that is just random, just RNG. Hopefully we'll get good RNG here.
No time, sir. We need to end this war today.
I'm not asking you, Price. This is an order. You're to...
Looks like we lost our connection.
Also, there's one spot on Contingency that is harder compared to Classic, and that is escaping the BTR that is going to be shooting at us. Not because it's more accurate, but because it destroys the tree earlier. And if you're slow, or if you're just mediocre, the tree will fall on top of you. So I prefer not to risk it, I just walk around on the alternate route.
Copy that. The rest of the team landed near Ghost, pretty far to the east. They're on to us. Open fire! Convoy coming. Get outside.
Again, because of the price softlock being eliminated, we do not longer care if we're exposed or not. So we don't need the enemies to die without spotting us. We can just move forward, kill everyone we see. Of course, Price will scold us a little bit, but who cares? Strafe jump for a little bit.
The Russians have mobile SAMs. Roger that.
So yeah, we're taking the alternate route that doesn't end up with trees falling on top of us.
Slow down.
just in front of us or behind us.
Looks like they're searching for us. Good.
Got these guys. The forest stealth sequence is the same, and its speedruns the same.
Patrol.
Just got to kill everyone. Dogs should always die first.
Beautiful.
And this is it. Go forward. Again, as you can remember, back on ESA Winter 19, I used to spend one rocket here, both to wait for Captain Price, so he doesn't softlock, and to clear the path ahead of me. We're not going to do this here, because the softlock is not there anymore, and because it's easier to just kill those guys on your own.
Roger that. The second predator's almost in position.
They're not dangerous at all.
Watch for the flashing strobes. That's us.
But we are going to destroy the chopper with the missile, take the BTR away with it at the same time. Another double kill. Now we just need to get to the tower.
AGM missile is online.
I think the missiles restock a bit quicker compared to classic,
AGM missiles online. I repeat.
but it doesn't really matter here because all the transports will be coming in way after Price enters the subbase.
Arming AGMs. Stand by.
So if in classic it was dependent on you, the transports would come as soon as you enter this place, this rooftop, this sniping spot. Now you just have to wait and clear out everything. Alright, that's finally.
AGM missile is online. I repeat. AGM missile is online.
Check out the Dragonov. We see Price running there. He was pretty fast. That's good. Kill this guy. No scope. And now we just walk away. Now the voice line skip didn't work for me in the first playthrough, but it did work in the second one. So I'm not sure how to do it properly and what is the trigger for it. But I'll just stick around a while longer so that I can hear the first line of dialogue. Right, the objective has changed. That's good.
Alright. I'm inside the sub. Cover me. I need a few minutes.
Right, now we walk away.
Arming AGMs. Stand by.
Still arming the AGMs.
AGM missile is online.
Alright, I hope I double killed
Target.
those.
Multiple enemy vehicles. KIA.
Yeah, multiple. That's good.
Stand by.
And again, now we're just going to wait.
Arming AGMs. Stand by.
Going to shoot some missiles, but mainly we're just going to wait.
AGM missile is online. 5+ KIAs. Good hit. Good hit.
Game saved, meaning we are progressing. Let's walk away to this rooftop. It's a lovely view on the nuclear missile here. Which hopefully is going to launch right now. Come on. Or not. Yeah, there it comes. But judging by how long that took, I guess the dialogue skip didn't work. That's unfortunate. So now we're going to have Second Sun. One of the levels that was made a lot better compared to Classic. Now unfortunately we lost the triple gun skip. Not skip, but a glitch. Didn't skip anything, it was just fun. So if you remember my Winter 2019 run, I did pick up a third gun there. I had 3 guns to choose from, 3 guns to cycle. This is not the case here. You cannot pick up the third gun. But there is a new skip here on Second Sun.
Makarov must be brought to light. Whatever you need, General.
It's a voice line skip that will make the first part of the level around a minute quicker, because we're going to skip Foley and the Messenger's dialogue. Again, by just walking away from them. Damn, something with my nose. Guess I'm allergic to something.
You got time for a quick donation?
Absolutely.
We got a $25 donation from Cerise with no comment, but thank you very, very much, Cerise. Thank you very much for your generosity. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to keep donating, and especially to decide the chopper pilots.
This is Overlord. Do you copy? Over. Dagger 2-1, this is Overlord. How copy? Over.
Also, another fun thing, they did keep the Wade having multiple faces. So Wade, the guy who gives you this M4, looks differently in the end of Their Own Accord and in the beginning of Second Sun, both here in Remastered and in Classic. I did point this out on my run in 2019. I do point this out now. Then gets shot. This sequence changed a little bit. It's the same in terms of time, but you move a little bit here. Or rather, the astronaut moves. I'm not doing anything here.
There it is. We're getting your feet, Sat-1. Come in, Houston. Are you getting this?
Copy that, ISS. Video feed from Sat-1 is clear. Sat-1, keep track.
Yeah, there's the missile.
Looking into it. Stand by.
It is rumored that this was meant to be a playable level. So, just like in Ghosts, we would have space warfare. But it was cut, and judging by how it ended up being in Call of Duty Ghosts, it's a good thing it got cut. Because in Ghosts, it's ridiculous. Although I do understand why it was made the way it was made in Ghosts. If everyone would be one bullet away from death, and I hope you do realize that in space combat everyone is one bullet away from death, it's one bullet, rupturing your spacesuit and you're done for. It wouldn't play cool. Anyhow, just like in Classic, now we have to follow Dunn. We can go ahead of him, but there's not much point in that, because nothing will be skipped if we get here before him. Get some grenades. Another chopper falls. Magically we get some ammo. Reload everything. Check out the M9. Let's get ourselves some more ammo. 10 more magazines for the M4. We won't really need them, but it's a useful thing to have more ammo. Doesn't slow us down in any way. Wait here for the messenger, because you have to be here in order for him to appear. There he is. And now we can run away. Ah, come on guys, let me through. Right, we got far away. This should skip some of the dialogue. Hopefully. Yes, it did. And now we have to catch up with our friendlies fast, because otherwise we'll be losing time on them waiting for us. Yeah, totally got allergies to something that is blooming outside the window. Jesus. Right, so just like in Classic, the enemies are already spawned. You can even kill them, but it's harder to pull off. But this sequence as a whole is easier. Again, either because the damage was toned down for the enemies, or there are just less enemies on the map, which one of those I am not sure. But if in Classic it's pretty easy to die here, it's much harder to die here in Remastered. Clear out this area. Oh, foul. Not bad. It's pretty useless though. We are going to need our M4 because of the noob tube that's attached to it. We could take an AK, but I like the M4 a bit more. Don't know why. Guess it's just getting used to it thing.
Cut the chatter. Ramirez, take
Whoa,
one.
check out the seal on this door. I thought the president's bunker was under the west wing.
This must be the real thing.
Now, in Modern Warfare 2 Classic, there was a little glitch that made Dun despawn for some reason. It doesn't happen here under any circumstances, so we just go forward to Whisky Hotel. Now, Whisky Hotel is somewhat better compared to Classic, because you remember me saying that back at ESA Winter that there is a glitch on Whisky Hotel, but it's an individual level only thing, because it's quite hard to pull off and might softlock your game if done wrong. or if gone wrong. Either of those. Here, this glitch is present with somewhat reduced effectiveness, but it's a lot more solid, a lot more consistent and reliable. Just like there, here it involves teleporting Foley, but we will not be keeping him behind us, but we will wait on our own before entering the Oval Office. Because if Foley is too far away from the Oval Office when you enter it, he will not teleport. If he's close enough, he will teleport. And teleporting Foley is what we need, because he's the one to open the door to the rooftop. So the hardest part here is going to be to survive before entering the Oval Office, because there are a lot of enemies there. It's this guy, those guys. Game saved. And this. Then we wait for a little bit more. Hopefully this should do it. Yep, there he is. He teleported. That's very good. I might have missed the timing by a few seconds, lost a few seconds there, but in this particular case, it's better be safe than sorry. I'd rather save 38 seconds instead of 40 than lose the time save altogether. The kill plane is still here, so you just have to run all the way to here, and all the enemies will despawn. Let's reload everything, just because we can. Check out the TAR-21. Just like in Classic, you can stand in front of Foley when he breaches the door. You can run in front of him, complete the sequence 5 seconds quicker, not losing the time needed to walk around Foley. Hey, we're here. Look at us. Cool shot.
So, when we going to Moscow? Not soon enough, man. But I know we're gonna burn it down when we get there.
When the time's right, Corporal. When the time's right.
We're getting close to the end of the game. Only 4 missions left. Now it's going to be loose ends.
It's been a tough week, gentlemen. We've lost more than we ever dreamed. But we will recover.
Loose ends is better compared to Classic, because the flashbang glitch is still there, so we will be throwing off the slow motion and the concussion from the mines with our flashbang, and it actually is better. It saves more time compared to Classic, because in Classic you would still crawl. Here it allows you to stand up temporarily and speed yourself up a lot by doing this. The glitch itself has become somewhat harder. There's a much more narrow timing window for it. But it does work, which is cool.
We got 2 trucks leaving the target building.
Now, just like contingency, this level here has become more random, because now Ghost has to walk outside the house in order to get back into it, and trigger has cutscene. So what we're going to do here is change the breach pattern compared to Modern Warfare 2 Classic. Yeah, just like I said, if the game gives you any prompt, you lose a couple seconds waiting before breaching. But this slow motion shake-off actually works now. It used to be the only unskippable slow-mo in Modern Warfare Classic. The game still does reload you. Before you breach. Scarecrow's here. Right, there's Ghost. Hopefully I've cleared out the hole completely. Yes, I did, and we lost no time on Ghost RNG, which is awesome. Now, the altered breaching sequence did play a part in it, but still, sometimes Ghost does enter the living room without you and has to walk all the way outside the house to start the sequence. Well,
I got some donations for whenever you have some time.
Yeah, we'll have some a little bit later in the mission, but right now there's a bit something more that I would like to tell.
Go right ahead.
So yeah, there's an animation now for the DSM, but the timings are unchanged. It still takes 5 minutes to download all the documents. Again, almost all weapons that are in the game are present on this level, with a few notable exceptions. That being the Magnum, which is unusable at all, but is still remodeled. There's no Scar on this level, it might fall off the enemies though. There's no FAMAS, and there is no USP-45. Everything else is present. So we set up some landmines. They'll be useful to clear out the enemies. Again, it's harder to fail this mission by the way of enemies destroying the DSM, but it's still possible. I want to take no chances. The spawn points are exactly the same compared to Modern Warfare 2 Classic. They're, again, randomized, but they're the same. So the enemies will appear there, there, there in the field, there, and in the forests. All of these spawns will be used, but the order is randomized. And now, while I'm defending, we do have some time for donations.
Excellent. We got a $20 donation from Miyazaki with the comment, "It's always awesome seeing people come together for such a good cause." And that it is. Thank you very much for your generosity. And then we had a $5 donation from Yasunobu, who I am pretty sure I've seen there in the chat. Thank you very much. And I also saw what happened there. These donations have been going towards saving or killing the chopper pilot. And guess what? We're currently in a tie. We're currently in a tie because after that, Miyazaki donated $5, twice more, and Yasunobu now with another $5 donation as well, bringing that kill versus save to a tie.
Right, so I'll remind you that killing the chopper pilot that is in the donation incentive is a custom animation. It was not present in Modern Warfare 2 Classic, it's not used anywhere else in the game, but it looks cool, so why not showcase it? So I think in case of a tie, we will be killing the chopper pilot. It doesn't matter whether I do or don't clear out the enemies. I think they despawn even after a certain period. But the sequence itself is on a hard 5-minute timer. So me killing the enemies is just a way to kill time and risk my skin for no time save at all. But I might get killed here and be thrown all the way back to the latest save.
Just to correct myself real quick, the save is actually ahead by $5 right now.
Alright, but there's still at least 20 minutes of runtime left for you to change that. So send your donations if you want to see the cool animation. Alright, there's the field spawn. Just like in Classic, the game will display the accurate time when there's 30 seconds left on the download. As you can see right now, it's on 12 minutes. Bit earlier it was at 102 minutes. So those who remember Windows XP and its way of measuring how much time left, they'll crack a smile. Right, 16 seconds left. Means I need to stay here near the ACM, DSM. Now, curiously enough, the LMG, any LMG, has a higher movement speed compared to assault rifles, so I'll be running with an M240, not with the F2000. There still hasn't been found a way to make loose ends go faster, to either make the download go faster or skip the download altogether. There is an out-of-bounds sequence, at least there was in Classic, but it's useless, unfortunately. Just like always, prepare your Bible thumbs. You're gonna need them.
That's one less loose end.
Press F to pay respects.
Area is sanitized. All targets destroyed. Solid copy. No movement detected. 2-6 going into holding pattern.
Time-wise, I think this sequence is a little bit longer compared to Classic, but not much longer. We're talking about around 10 seconds of time difference here. So all in all, Remastered is a pretty good replacement for Classic in terms of marathon runs. Still, there are minor differences in glitches. There are a bit more glitches right now in Classic than in Remastered. Although we can say that Remastered has been out for less than a month. And Classic has been out for more than 10 years. And that, of course, makes a huge difference in terms of found glitches and skips. I think there is stuff to be found in MW2 Remastered.
Roach, Ghost, come in, Ghost. You copy? Does anyone copy?
They're dead, so. Shepard's cleaning house. I'm working my way back to you.
Right, so now
Lead us. Have to trust someone.
this is going to be
Nikolai, come in. Do you have
enemy of your enemy.
Da, inbound price.
Again, one of the shortest levels in the whole campaign.
On the one side, Makaros on the other.
And again, one of the longer loads
We'll have to
in the
take
whole
them all
campaign.
out.
For some reason,
Or let them take each other.
somehow the shortest levels
On the other side, my friend.
load the longest. Maybe it's the density of the objects there, maybe it's something else, I don't know. But the actual level is essentially the same. We just run from here to there, get into the UAZ, and fly away.
Nikolai, this is Price. Reapply. The L Denny's home. I repeat, the L Denny's home. Okay, Captain Price, I'm on the way. Try to get the
Go forward, go forward. There was an invisible wall with those two guys being alive back in Classic. It was removed here in Remastered. Saves just a bit of time. A second maybe, maybe even less. Not having to kill both of those guys.
Nikolai, just shut up and land the bloody plane. We're on our way. We can use their comms to listen in on their radio traffic. I'm gonna try and contact Makarov.
There's our UAZ.
Makarov, this is Price.
This sequence is a bit quicker compared to Classic. Also, the dialogue starts earlier, so despite us speedrunning the level, you can still hear the whole conversation between Makarov and Price. That wasn't the case in Modern Warfare 2 Classic, where the dialogue wasn't triggered by you entering into the car, but just by sheer time spent on the level. There's a bug in the Russian version of this game where this guy, Rook, is going to be killed now. For some reason his model calculates wrong and he doesn't abandon the wheel. And it takes one more shot for him to die on the Russian version. It's not exactly a game-breaking glitch, but it's pretty random and it's kind of annoying. Regardless, I am running the English version of the game because English is generally a bit quicker than Russian, and because running English versions, if there's no rules against it, if there's no glitches related to other languages in the game, is just good manners.
But I think that's a luxury, not a curse. To know you're close to the end is a kind of freedom.
Monologue from Price.
Take inventory.
The longest load in the game.
Gunned, outnumbered, out of our minds.
Just like all times.
But the sand and rocks here, stained with thousands of
The
years.
next to last level. We're almost done here.
They will remember us.
So those who are fed up with Call of Duty, rejoice. I'll be gone soon enough.
This is the one we choose for ourselves. We go forward like a breath exhaled from the earth, with vigor in our hearts and one goal in sight.
And if we have any announcements to make, now's the time.
There are currently no donations, so that does mean that saving the chopper pilot seems to be the conclusion here, I guess, if you want to cut it up.
You there? Your voice just cut out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just reading that there's no donations, but the chopper pilot is currently ahead on the save front. So I don't know when you want to cut it up.
Well, we still do have at least one level to go, this level. So this might be your last chance to tip the scales in favor of killing the pilot and seeing the cool animation tied to it.
The difference right now between those two is $5, so get your donations in for that.
And yeah, we're still loading. When I said that this is the longest load of the game, I wasn't exaggerating. It is the single longest load in the game. It's still shorter than the longest load in Modern Warfare 1 Remastered, which took over 5 minutes. And it was so long that the game actually crashed for me when I tried to load the level with shaders preload, just because it was loading way too long. Fortunately, the game doesn't crash here if you load too long. Or maybe it doesn't, we'll see it right now. Hopefully not, still. Come on, just load already. Too bad we don't have any more donations to read. Come on, fellas, help me out here.
That would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it?
I'll wait for you at the exfil point.
Alright, we're finally in. Should still make the estimate, hopefully. But this load right here might have just screwed me up big time. Anyway, now we need a little bit of luck to get a underbarrel grenade launcher from one of those guys. They're the only ones on the level who can have it. Clear Scar. Yes, there it is. Scar Grenadier. That's very good. How much grenades do we have? Just one. It'll do. It'll do. It gives us a big chance to clear out the space in front of the door and breach without killing every single enemy on the level. Kill those guys. The animation is exactly the same, frame to frame. Because that's how you treat the classic, guys. That's how you remaster a game. Alright, so this despawn is here as well. We're going to look down the stairs, so these guys would despawn as soon as they spawn. Let's reload. Still one grenade. This might be a bit hard for me, but it's nothing I haven't done before. Ah, come on. Yes, we got this. We got this. This skip worked. Everything is going positively awesome for me in this run. Gotta wait for soap for Price for a bit. But he'll be here. He tells us to open the door. We of course comply, we don't want to get blown up. Again, there's an animation for this here. Takes the same amount of time that just holding the F button took in Classic.
Just to let you know real quick, the incentive has been tied up with a $5 donation from Yasuno.
Alright.
And I believe on a tie you were going to kill.
Yeah.
Is what you...
Well, I think I can give a few more minutes, because we still have the boat ride ahead of us. So guys, these are the last couple minutes that you can donate to meet the incentive. Jesus, my tongue is tired. Anyhow, this load should be pretty fast.
This is for the record. History is written by the victor. History is filled with liars. If he lives and we die, his truth becomes written and ours is lost. Shepard will be a hero.
Around the corner, come on.
This small skip was removed here. There's solid barriers there, you can't jump on top of them, you can't jump through them. But the boat itself seems faster. Not by a big margin, but still somewhat quicker than the original.
We just got a $5 donation from Fireshark, putting Kill in the lead. Thank you, Fireshark.
Alright, so the incentive will be closed when the boat ride ends, which is in less than 3 minutes, so if anyone else has the reward and their money to say something about the chopper pilot, now's the perfect time, and there will be no other time for it. Now this sequence is exactly the same compared to Modern Warfare 2 Classic. Maybe something was changed on the Veteran difficulty, because this boat ride on Veteran is the single hardest thing in the entire game. It's very counterintuitive, it's very hard, it's very random. It was what cost me the sub 3 on my first Veteran run of Modern Warfare 2 Classic. Regardless, everything is going pretty well here. The underwater stones are still here, they're still present, they can still flip your boat if you're unlucky or uncareful. So we'll try our best to avoid them. Got hit by RPG. It's nothing too serious. It's nearly impossible to die here on this boat riding sequence on Recruit, although I did manage to do that several times. It's much easier to just flip the boat and lose Shepard and go to checkpoint after that.
We just got a $15 donation towards Kill from Irish Mist, putting Kill ahead by $20.
And since the boat ride is over, that's it for our incentive. And I guess we are killing the chopper pilot.
Which I do believe is what you wanted to showcase, so thank you everyone. Thank you very much.
Alright, so one last load. I know you love them. Everyone loves loads. Because, well, why not? I used to go make myself some coffee during some very, very, very long loads. But this one is pretty short. Only one scene remaining. We wake up, we walk. So actually, endgame is worse in Remastered compared to Classic, because the knife speed up isn't here. So when we catch up with Shepard, nothing will happen when I swing the knife at him. But first, this guy. Bad luck. Unfortunately, his pistol is empty, so we cannot use it. But our blade is bloody. So in Classic, when you swing your knife at Shepard, you instantly catch up to him, get a burst of speed. Here you don't. Yeah, get stabbed right through the magazines.
5 years ago, I lost 30,000 men in the blink of an eye. And the world just fucking watched. Tomorrow, there will be no shortage of volunteers, no shortage of patriots. I know you understand.
Alright, so now we just have to crawl to the Magnum. Takes exactly the same amount of time as in Classic. Get our face stomped. And now get ready to spam F in chat to pull out the knife. Also, this is the first ever time we see Price without his hat or a helmet on. Right, so this sequence takes longer compared to Classic, mainly because there's a longer window between you getting your face stomped and actually being able to pull the knife. Get ready with time. Time. And this, children, is what happens to those who knock off Price's hat. Anyway, I am not sure if there will be a remaster for Modern Warfare 3 campaign, or will they just leave it here with the M2CR and W2CR. But the run is over. I guess I did go over the estimate because of the long loads. I'm curious whether this is a PB without loads or not, but I'll check that later. And right now, I'd like to make a shout out to ESA for being such an awesome marathon, both on-site and online. And I'd like to make a shout out to the Call of Duty speedrunning community, and personally to Kuna Dimitris for actually buying me Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered, just so I could run it here at ESA. And a shout out to the Russian speedrun community, who are just cool. Stay cool, guys.